So you would hope, especially given all of the issues that they've had with players out due to, well, with injury with KP and then with Corona with 4 different players, do you think that this last week could be what they needed to get some more of that continuity going, some more of that, even partnership going that Rick was kind of alluding to with how well everyone gets along, to have a strong last 6 games headed into the break?
I mean, I think so. I think it can be helpful if you do it the right way. I agree with anybody. Anytime you spend more time around people, you either start to love them more or hate them more. Okay, like it's that simple. And in these situations, like I don't feel like you ever are just like, I don't care about that person. Like it doesn't matter to me. There's nothing good or bad in my caring for them. I think you will start to think more highly of them or less highly of them in that respect. And so I think that one of the things that they really have to start establishing, and I agree with Mike on this wholeheartedly, they got to establish Kristaps early. Get him involved in the game and give him that 30-point monster game. And then let Luka get his when he wants to. If you got to go to the old Michael Jordan model and just say, okay, fourth quarter is what we're doing for you, Luka, that's when you're going to get hot and do your thing. He can get hot all the time. Like he can do his thing. But you have to start showing and proving Kristaps can be that dude at some point. Because if he doesn't do it early, he just disappears in the game. And so that's what I think is going to be most important is how did they replicate that in practice? Or how did they go over that discussion in practice so that they could say, hey, when we come back, our plans are going to beat this. Because that's something that's really missing from this team is huge leverage from the second guy.
I think also one of the things we have to consider is the uniqueness of this season. I know we often think about it because we are not privy to this. We just kind of think of they go, they do whatever they need to do, and they come out and they play games. But practices are important. And at the NBA level, practices are fairly scarce normally, and they've been even more scarce because of protocols and such. So like being able to work with your team and make adjustments and do those type of things, they haven't been as easy to do. And you, Kevin, rightfully mentioned how obviously there's been players missing for various reasons. They've only fairly recently, of course they've had some time, I'm not trying to make excuses for them, gotten their whole team together and kind of started doing things. We noticed that the defense fell off. That's one of those things that you need to work on in practice and figure out those things with your roles and your positioning and all those things. I would hope that with having a few days to kind of practice together without a game on the horizon, they would have an opportunity to kind of tinker with some of those things, and hopefully those things come back and we see some results there in the upcoming 6 games.
So the DVOA in terms of the defensive abilities was top 5 at a point this season.
Nice.
And then it was bottom 5 when they had so many players missing. So
can we find somewhere in between there, Kevin?
Hey, look, if you tell me that this team gets anywhere near the offensive efficiency of last year, can actually play well in the last 5 minutes and is an average defensive team, I think just about every Mavericks fan would take that all year long. And I think, to Reggie's point, you almost view... I think a lot of folks will view the Golden State rematch as sort of it was the best of times. Maybe this can be the regular for this team going forward. Because that first Golden State game, they got their freaking doors blown off. All right. But then in the rematch, they won. And then you follow up and you beat Minnesota, Atlanta, New Orleans. And then you lose the close game against Portland, where it appeared as though Dame was like, I've decided we're not going to lose this game. So I have something to throw in Luka's face later when I get jobbed over in the All-Star ratings. That's just a theory.
Don't think he said that.
Just a theory.
Pretty sure
just
Kevin's
a theory.
right about this. Yeah.
But I think you're looking at that last 5-game stretch before you've been on the hiatus, which has largely been because of the ice and the power issues and everything like that, is the Mavericks won 4 or 5, and they were winning close games, which has not always been this team's forte. And I think people look at that grouping of games as saying, where has that team been, and can we get a variation of that team going forward?
Well, and I mean, to be completely honest, during that stretch of very, very bad games for the Mavericks, they were without. Their rotations were very different. Guys were having to play heavier minutes that didn't, that they didn't deserve,
Yep.
for that matter. And I think that's like you're looking and seeing Rick has even more than anything shortened his rotation. And that it looks more like it typically would in the playoffs than it does regular season, where you're still trying to figure out minutes and tinker with minutes and everything. And I'm kind of curious if he's going to keep it that way for the season, because look, the talent doesn't work for the rest of these other guys. I might be able to use them for a couple minutes if we're in blowout games, but man, we have to make sure that all of our guys are at max speed all the time, and that's going to be a struggle whenever you got to figure this out for how many more games we have left in the season, in the second half of this season, and then go into the playoffs. And okay, we've only been playing 8, 9, or less than 8 guys the entire time, and we stuck with this, and that was the thing that worked because we don't have enough talent even further beyond that.